Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to do another video on Flickr Basic, but this time I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm not just going to do about the product itself, but I'm going to do a walkthrough with you onto how to configure your Flickr Basic. That's if you're using it, or if you're not. Even if you're not, I'm going to walk you through onto how you find perhaps a perfect setting for yourself, one that you are familiar with and you know what you're doing. Okay, now I'm going to touch on three things, okay, in this video. And the first thing is that we need to know the system of the expert advisor. What is it based on, how does it function, how does it work. You need to know that, because if you do not know that, you cannot trade with something you do not know. It's very true. So you got to know that. Now the second thing is the instrument that you're trading on, and last but not least, the strategy, if not the settings that you are using. Okay, so we're going to touch on these three things. Now, most of the time, an EA developer would do this. Okay, I'm generalizing here. Some they are not, but there are many that I've come across, they will do that. Now, when you buy a product, what they will normally do is that they will ask you to use the set file that is provided, or they give you a set of recommended settings and you are supposed to use it. That's it, full stop. Now, if you're new to trading, okay, if you're new to forex for that matter, and you don't know much about EAs, how do they work, so normally what we would do is we would just grab the set file and then we just run it based on the recommended settings. So if the developer were to tell you that you need at least $1,000 to run these settings, you would run it. And some of them will even tell you the recommended pairs, okay, and they don't just give you one pair, two pair, or pairs, or some people call it instruments. They will run it up to like a minimum of 4 pairs, and then you're supposed to run it, and then normally what will happen is that it could start off well, and then you could perhaps see some profits, but over time you then start to realize that you are in big floating profits, as in drawdowns, okay, because the EA is not able to work based on the settings that you're using from the set files, okay. So normally I would not recommend this to someone who is new. You only use set files that are being provided to backtest and to verify whether those images, those screenshots that are being shared on the product page, whether they are real or not, whether you can come up with something similar or the same kind of results, and then to see that, oh, actually this is true, for that matter. But it doesn't guarantee your success in future. That you should know, because the market changes every day, and even though the patterns might be the same, but then they are different. Okay, what happened last year isn't exactly of what is happening this year. I mean, last year we didn't have COVID, right? This year we have. So things like that you need to be very careful of. So do not just take set files blindly and run them as if they are your own, and putting your fullest trust that you work well. Okay, now if you have been watching my previous videos, you would know that Flickr, fundamentally, it is a trend trading EA. What does it mean? Trend trading EA means that it trades according to trend. Okay, and for an EA to draw or derive a trend, they would need to use an indicator, okay, as minimum as one indicator, and the most common indicator that they use is the moving average. Now, in order to draw a trend, okay, you would also need to define whether it is the overall trend or whether it is the current trend, as in whether you are looking at at the end of the day, whether the market is going up bullish or whether it's going down bearish. Okay, so if you were to want to achieve something that is at the end of the day, so you use a bigger time frame, so you get a better overall trend. Okay, and if you're looking at something that is right now instant, if you're scalping, whether it's going up or down, that kind of thing, based on the charts, based on the the closing of candlesticks, you use a smaller value. Okay, so without further ado, we are going to focus on this, and I'm going to show you how to read trend, because yeah, we can say that it's a trend-based EA, but then until and unless you see it visually, you may not get the fullest picture, especially if you're new. Okay, so I've load basic up onto this MT4. Okay, now because I'm doing this video on a Sunday and it's like 10:49 p.m. right now, so the market's not open, so I cannot like test it on the demo. So I can actually only do it on a strategy tester. It should give you the same idea, and yeah, you can do this as well. And I mean, most of us would start off using an EA by backtesting the results, right? So yeah, eventually you need to do this. Okay, so from the EA list, let's select Flickr Basic. Okay, and if you also have been watching my previous videos, you will also know that I only trade gold, and specifically XAU, USD, US dollar, and gold. So I'm gonna go straight ahead to XAU USD. Now I would show you what I know, and I wouldn't want to show you an example based on something that I do not know, so that it won't like come off as I am trying to BS my way through certain things and to just to impress you or make you believe. Okay, I'm going to use something that I do know. Okay, as a USD, and the period. Okay, we're gonna stick with 5 minutes. Now let's jump to settings. Okay, now normally you start with the deposit, you start with 10k. Okay, now this is just for for the sake of this video, so just put 10k there. Okay, now where do you set the trend is here. Okay, this is where you set the trend of Flickr Basic. So trend moving average settings. Now like I said earlier, if you want a better trend, an overall trend, you use a bigger time frame. Bigger time frame would be something like 1 hour, 4 hours, 1 day, 1 week, that kind of thing. Okay, but for me personally, I've been using 1 hour, so when you get Flickr Basic, you should also get it at an 1 hour. Period would be 200. 200 basically would be based on how many candles, that kind of thing. In close out your candles, okay, because close price, okay. Based on how many candles, then it derived that trend. So normally 1 hour, I will use 200, but if you want something that is like faster, okay, then you can choose this, choose something like 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and then the period you can use like 50 or 30 for that matter. Okay, a method I use simple, but there are also people who use exponential or smoother or linear weighted. Now it's entirely up to you. Okay, but for the sake of just showing you, how Flickr Basic works. Okay, let's just stick with this. Now the rest of settings, let's just use it as default, except for these two. Maybe when you get your copy of Flickr Basic, I would encourage you to double check on these two. Okay, inverse order, okay, set it to false, and time frame filter set to follow. If it's something else, okay, change it to follow, and this one set to false. Now inverse order, what does it mean is that because we're trading based on the MA, okay, moving average, so what should happen, or what happens is that on your chart, the moving average or the trend will be drawn on it. Okay, and if a position is open on top of the line, okay, above of the line, so it will place a buy. Okay, but if a position is placed below the line, you place a sell. Okay, so that is what it means, okay, by following the trend. Now if you set this to true, okay, what it will do instead is, if the position is open above the line, it will be a sell instead of a buy, and then if it's open below the line, it will be a buy instead of sell. So inverse simply means you turn it opposite, that kind of thing. Okay, so you have the option of doing that as well. Okay, time frame filter simply means that now we can draw trend on one time frame, but when we trade, we can also trade on a different time frame as well. Now, most EAs are not able to give you this. Okay, what most EAs will do is they give you the period. They start with just period and they ignore the time frame. Okay, but with Flickr Basic, you can choose from what time frame you are drawing your trend from, and on what time frame are you trading on as well. Okay, so if this is set to ignore, what it will do is it will open positions like a machine gun. So the moment the previous or the current position closes, it will open another one without respecting the time frame. So if you put follow, let's say if you're trading on the 5 minutes, what will happen is every 5 minutes it will open a new position in a new basket. Okay, let me rephrase it. Okay, every time you open the position, it will be a basket. Okay, so when 5 minutes is up, then only you open another position in that basket. You get what I'm saying? Okay, but when you close, when you take profit for that matter, it will disregard this altogether because it has the target profit has met, and then it just closes it instantaneously. Okay, so this is to help you manage your risk factor as well. Okay, so now I just want to show you how Flickr Basic works with trend. Okay, so yeah, inverse orders false, time frame filter follow. Okay, let's just use everything else as default and just set okay. Okay, now we're using go. Okay, so let's just start. Okay, enlarge this. And let's just get rid of the grid. Okay. Okay, now let's just pause it. What I want you to do next is that you don't see the trend line here, right? Okay, so what I want you to do is you go to the indicators, click on trend, and then you expand, and then you look for moving average. Okay, and then you choose period 200. Okay, 200. Now we are trading on 5 minutes. Okay, so now what happens here is that this is the trend line. Okay, but this is on 5 minutes. On an hourly trend line, it will not move like this. Okay, so what happens is this is that it has opened a position here, and then you just look at the results. Okay, the position is a buy. Okay, so let's just continue. Let's just resume. Okay, until it closes. Let's just make it faster. Okay, now the next position, pause it. Okay, the latest one is, have a look, is above of the moving average, so this should be a buy. Okay, and just look at the result. See, it's a buy. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So this is what you call as trading according to trend. And with this feature available, because most EAs out there, they are not able to do this, and there's no option to. Most of the time they are set to place an order opposite of the trend because they are hoping for reversals or pullbacks. Okay, now you can trade according to this, which also gives you more room, more options for different strategies as well. One that you find it more confident trading on. So bottom line is this. Okay, so if it's above this trend line, you place a buy. Okay, if it's below this trend line, okay, you place a sell instead. Okay, but if you have enabled the inverse order to true, then you place a sell instead of a buy. That's simple. Okay, so this is how should I, this is fundamentally how Flickr works. Okay, it trades according to the trend. Okay, now other systems out there I do not know, but this is for you to find out. But if you're sticking with me using Flickr, okay, this will be it. Okay, you can choose it to trade anyhow you like, because there are just so many options for you to play with, and to give you the freedom of trading based on what you know. Now, if you are looking at a higher tier of the Flickr product line, okay, if you are looking at Flickr, I believe it is professional, you get to play with, or you get to use up to 7 indicators to help you determine the trend. 7. Okay, most EAs will only give you 1, even if you're paying premium for it. But with Flickr Professional, you are able to use up to 7 indicators to help you to draw the trend. And what's even better, you can actually use more than one indicator to help you to have this what they call it as confluence or confirmation, whether all the indicators that are being enabled, they are agreeing whether it is a bullish trend so that it will place a buy, or whether it is a bearish trend so that it will place a sell instead. So these are some of the the amazing features that Flickr has to offer as you progress from one tier to the other. Okay, so this is it. First part, how Flickr or how the EA works. Now the second part is the instrument. Now because I trade gold, it is easier for me to work on it. But assuming that you have no idea, you just got started and you don't know where to go to, I advise you to go to this website, tradingview.com. Okay, many traders, they use this website, and there are many pairs to choose from. And now let's just go to gold, okay, because it's something that I'm more familiar with. So gold, XAUUSD, and then look at the charts. Okay, now to draw the trend, you use I would normally use the 1 hour. And then when you look at a chart like this, do not be afraid. Okay, and if for a manual trader, normally what they do is they'll look for W's and they look for M's on the chart. Okay, W's are the formation of the candlestick patterns. Okay, so if you can see here, there's a W here. So what they do is that they don't trade here, but they trade on the last leg. Okay, so what happens is that they wait here, and then this is where they place their position or their order, so that they get this whole stretch up. Okay, this is a W, and then an M would probably look like this. Okay, this could be an M. Okay, now even though it bounced back up a little bit here, but this could be just a small correction kind of thing. So you can just take this leg. Okay, in fact this whole leg up, this leg, and then you target here, it goes all the way down. Okay, another M would be here as well, M. Okay, there are just so many M's and W's. It all depends how and which M and which W you're focusing on. Okay, if you're not sure, or if you're lost, Abel, what the heck are you talking about? Okay, head on to this website. Okay, babypips.com. There's a free course here. Go through it. Okay, it will help you to understand the forex market much better. Then they'll touch on the M's and W's as well. Then you won't be so lost onto trying to relate to what I am saying right here. Okay, so W. Now when I look at the chart, okay, I'll look for the longest range like that, but I do not take the full thing. I take it at the break here, because what happened here is that now we are moving into your strategy and settings. Okay, so it's a little mix here and there. Okay, there's no clear cut. Okay, so when you trade on a particular pair, okay, don't be too ambitious, as in you don't try to trade too many pairs at one go, but rather I would advise you to just be focused on one, so that I would say master it, so that you understand how the market moves for that particular pair. Now I choose gold because it's very volatile and there are many movements, and it is very good for the kind of strategy that I'm using for myself. Okay, so mine is based on reversals and pullbacks. So yeah, this kind of W's and M's are ideal or perfect for me. So what I'll look at is I like this kind of movement. Okay, and I won't take the whole length of this this whole formation. I'll just take a half of it. Okay, I'll just take this leg. And how do you decide on what distance to plug onto your settings. Okay, let's just go back settings, stop it. Okay, distance here, we're working on this. Okay, so what I'll normally do is I'll choose a considerable size leg. Okay, maybe the top to the bottom. Okay, here. Now how do you measure this? There's a tool here. Click on this, click on price range. Okay, price range here to the lowest point, maybe here or here. Well, maybe for the sake of this video, let's take the highest. Okay, so from here, sorry, let's see how this whole how much this whole line is worth. Okay, it's about, you see this number here, 4222. This whole line is a $42. Okay, from top to bottom, $42. Now it's a big movement for gold, and if your EA setting couldn't survive this movement, okay, then you shouldn't be touching gold. Okay, yeah, because it cannot handle such a, you know, small movement. Yeah, 42 is actually not that big, and if you want to make it all fair, you could measure it from here to here, because once it reaches here, then it bounces back. So you have 3777, so which is about $38 on gold. Okay, so $38 is a very small movement, and gold has made even larger movements before, like, you know, 50, 70, 100. Okay, but then it is never like one straight line down, and after all this happened in an hour time frame. So in that 1 hour, there could be, you know, pullbacks, retracements, and so on and so forth. Okay, so yeah, it's not a very big one. So let's just, for the sake of this video, we use 38. So what I would normally do is, I would not take the full line, I'll take the break here. Okay, so if we were to take the break, then we measure it, it would be from here to maybe here, 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 yeah, somewhere around here, maybe here. Okay, the reason why I choose this is because there's another break here. Okay, so my strategy allows the kind of recovery. Okay, yeah, so 14, maybe round it up 15. Okay, so what you do is you use this, and then you ask yourself, how many levels of retracement do you want it be? Okay, for me, I will normally divide this figure by 4. Okay, so let's just take it as 14,000. Sorry, 1400 divided by 4, you get about 350. Okay, 350, and then what you do is you punch it into the EA. So you see this 400, you change it to 350. Okay, now next what I want you to do is, you're looking at 4 levels, right? I want you to look at your the martingale calculator. I've also posted the link to the martingale calculator in the YouTube description box down below, so go ahead and download it, because if you're using an EA, this calculator will help you to calculate how much equity, how much risk you're exposed to, how much lot size, how much money you put in the account, that kind of thing. Okay, it's very, very useful. Okay, so now I've highlighted this. Okay, this is what you are seeing. Okay, and then 4, right? Okay, the whole line 4, so I'll just highlight this to level 4. Now let's update this distance to 350 instead. Okay, 350. So what does this calculator tell you? Okay, assuming you're starting with lot size of 0.01, after it has moved a distance of 350, which is also translated as $3.50, your drawdown will have reached $3.50 before it starts to open level 2. Okay, and once level 2 is matured, then your drawdown would be 1750 before it opens level 3 and so on and so forth. So if you are looking at this calculator, and normally what EA programmers, what they'll do is this, is that the default setting for max order lot size, they set it to 5, okay? Because what happened was 5, okay? So 350, sorry, follow, okay. They'll set it to 5, okay? Now, it is quite normal to think that, yeah, just give it as the value as big as possible, maybe 100 or 10, so that it gives it room to recover. But the thing is this, is that your equity is capped, and then it can your EA can only open the next position based on how much equity it has left to sustain that position. So if you don't cap the max lot size, let's say 5, by the time it matures, you need 4,200 for your $200, okay, to open a 5 lot size position, okay. And if you're running a 10k account, a little bit more, if the market didn't retrace in your favor, then you have hit margin call. Now the reason why most settings do not work is that when a developer designs the EA, okay, there are certain elements that he or she would need to put in account to, or take into consideration. One of it is not only the strategy or what method it is using, whether it's martingale, grid, hedging, or whatever, okay. Another method would be the recovery method, okay. Now it is quite normal for an EA to have stop loss. Some EAs would just give you stop loss and that's it. Now, but martingale, for example, is one of the most commonly used recovery systems out there, and if you do not know how to use it or tame it, then what happens is that you will not be able to fully utilize its potential. And if you were to use a setting that's based on a poorly calculated risk factor on martingale, then most likely you blow your account, and most likely you find it very disappointing as well. So let's just use the default values 1.5, okay. Now this is how it progresses, okay. We knew just now, or we have ran through just now from the chart on trading view, that whole length was worth $38. Now if you were to use only a multiplier of 1.5, distance of 350, you can see that in order to sustain that full move of $38, you will need 11 positions to be open. I mean, if it were to go down south like at one go, you need that much. But I'm quite sure of this, is that because of the small multiplier which many developers are using, 1.5, it wouldn't have the momentum or the quantum enough to recover as it retraces, okay. So what happened is this, is that if you have one position open, second position is open, okay, and then what happened here is that let's say this didn't mature, and at the start of 0.02, and then market starts to reverse in your favor. So what happened is that instead of going to 12.25, in order to close in profit or break even, this makes sense, I think. So you need a 0.02, it needs to cover back this position to break even, and then a little bit more so that it hits your take profit. Now most of the time I'll take profit, I don't know what you set it to. If it's too high, then it is impossible to recover, and then as a result of that, the market goes down south again and open more positions, which exposes you to more risk. So what I believe is this, is that when you use, or when you calculate the length that you should travel here, you should take into account how fast it recovers as well. So for me, normally I'll go more than 2.5, okay. let's just use 3 for the matter. Okay, so when this position opens, multiplier of 3, okay, it will only need to absorb a little bit of the losses at level 1, and then you have recovered much faster, okay, because the lot size is bigger, it's able to absorb this, and so you only need like 1/3 of the length in order to recover the position. That's simple. So don't use these values as it is. You should actually, once you have come up with a certain kind of setting, you should really run it on demo, run it on backtesting to really see for yourself how the settings perform in various market conditions. So this is one way that you do it. And then if you're using these settings, okay, let's say you start with 0.01, the distance at 350, and then you're using a multiplier of 3, okay, remember we are only looking at four sections, recurrent sections. So what I'll also do is I'll cap my settings to a max lot size of 0.27. So what I'll do is this is the max lot size I'll put to 0.27, multiply I put to 3. Okay, now what happens here is that it stops here. It will not open any positions bigger than 0.27, and this would help to safeguard yourself from further risk, so that you will not need to hit here. You don't need to hit, let's say, $38 here, right? You don't need to hit 34,000. Only then it starts to recover, that kind of thing. Okay, so by setting your max lot size, it will help you to protect your equity and your account from going through big drawdowns, for the matter. So yeah, just remember, put the numbers in, you'll be able to see how much distance has traveled, how much drawdown as well, and this will tell you how much you need to have in your trading account in order to run these settings. So based on this, normally what I would do is that if I look at the drawdown here at the 4th position, which what I want to afford it to, then probably I'll just look at $1,000, okay, for the account. Then it should be quite safe or comfortable, okay, I'll put it as that, okay, for it to trade on go. Now you can be trading other pairs, okay, so other pairs have different movement strength, and they will have different distances for sure. They will have different multipliers as well. So if you're in a channel, or if you're buying an EA and then the developer is telling you to use one same setting across 4 different pairs, it will not work, because each pair is unique. You need a different kind of setting for that particular pair. Okay, so there it is. Okay, now the next thing I would like to point you to is the take profit value. Okay, now if you set it as 100, it will simply mean that at $1 it will take profit. Okay, now there are different modes of take profit here. You have basket total, initial anchor, and percentage of account size. Basket total means that let's say you have 3 positions open, you take into account the lot sizes, then the take profit will be based on that and average, and then there'll be your take profit in terms of points. And if you're using initial anchor, it is only focused on the first position, and then the take profit will be based on the first position's value in dollar. Percentage of account size, let's say you have you're running 10,000 here, so if you put it at take profit, let's say 1%, 1% of it would be $100, but because of how I've designed this EA, so you have to divide it by another 100, so it will still give you $1. Okay, and if you use the percentage of account size, it will help your account to grow as well. And moving on, stop loss. Normally in a recovery system, you try not to use stop loss, because most of the time you hit stop loss first before it the recovery could take place, okay, could trigger. So normally stop loss, you disable it. So that's why it's very crucial that, you know, once you have come up with a piece of setting, you run it through a back tester, or you run it on demo first for, you know, not just one day, not just 2 days, a week or a month. Okay, then you'll be able to see, you know, with better clarity whether that setting survives, you know, the most volatile movements in that month or in that week for that matter. Okay, because different pairs are affected by different factors. You know, different pairs, they have different news which, you know, drive them whether they go crazy, bonkers or what. Okay, so yeah, that's primarily that. Basically that's it lah. Okay, so let's assume, we are using initial anchor, trailing we put to 0. Now I'll go through what trailing is later on. Okay, so let's just assume initial anchor, and then we just want a profit of let's just not be greedy, we just go with 50 cents. Okay, so initial anchor 50 here would just mean 50 cents, so you just divide it by 100. Now let's just run this and see what happens. Click OK, and let's just click start. Okay, position is open, but it's way too slow, so let's just speed it up. It's not moving. Oh yeah, speed up, and then let's just pause. Okay, 50 cents profit. So what you see here is 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. They are almost there. Okay, 50, 50, 50, 50. Now there's also another way whereby you can increase the headroom of your take profit. Okay, that's where trading comes in. Okay, so what it means is that you know, sometimes you have a certain week like this, and you just want to just harvest, you know, the whole length of it. Okay, let's just say some news came up. Okay, and then NFP. Okay, and then because of NFP, you know, the piece of news, somehow the market went crazy. It just went sky high. It rocketed up to this level. So if you have set your, or if you're using trailing and your take profit is set much higher, you have probably harvested the whole length of it. Okay, so for the sake of this video, let's just try something like this. Now you want a minimum of 50 cents. Okay, so trailing start at 50 cents. Okay, and the trail stop, normally what I'll do is a 10% of what I set for trailing start, and your take profit, you choose a bigger figure. Okay, maybe you want to look at 10 times, so maybe $5. Okay, and let's just see what happens when we use this setting with trailing. Okay, now let's just look at results. Okay, you have 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. Okay, you have, you see, 90 cents here, and then you even have 18, 19, 20 here. Okay, yeah, so it gives you room to increase your profits when you use trailing. Okay, so that is one handle that I'll leave with you. So whether or not you want to use trailing is entirely up to you, but what I'm saying here is that there is a potential to draw in more profit. Okay, now another thing I'd like to talk about is that on strategy. Now, knowing now that, you know, Flickr is capable of trading according to trend, okay, what you could do is you can increase the distance much further. Okay, and then you can also, so that what we're trying to achieve here is, you know, like those manual traders whereby they place a position and then they wait it out for the whole day, and then by the end of the day they just draw the whole profit, that kind of thing. You can do that as well. Okay, so what you could do is, maybe a distance here you could increase it 10 times, maybe 3,500, assuming that, you know, in that particular day it has moved that much. Okay, initial size 0.01. Okay, maybe take profit, you use something much bigger. Okay, let's just say we want to maximize it. Take profit, you use like, maybe you want $30, okay, in that day, and then you start, counting your profit maybe at $10. Okay, 10% of it you just use 100. Okay, click OK. Now because you are looking at a longer period of time, right? Okay, so what you could do is you use a higher time frame, so maybe use an hour. Okay, so that every hour it only plays at one position, so that it's able to write up the trend, and then you are able to harvest that profit that you want to. So let's see if these settings work. I mean, I've not tested this before. Let's just see whether it works or not. Okay, 1 hour time frame. Okay, go. You see, so it's able to write it up and then take profit. Pause. Results. So it hit the trailing first before it hit your, take profit of $30. So there you go. You see, like $10. So this is also another strategy whereby, because Flickr is able to draw trend or trade according to trend, so you can actually, your strategy could be based like this: very low amount of trade positions over a bigger time frame, and your take profit is much higher. Okay, so that you can ride the whole wave up. Now, having said so, sometimes it may not go in your favor, because sometimes the trend may change, might go down south. Okay, so if we were to continue running this setting, let's see what will happen. Okay, still going up. You see, another one, yet another one, position open, and another one. Okay, so this is a new day, I assume. Yeah, you see, it's going down, it's going down. Another one. Just look at that. Okay, so what happened here was this. See, $13, more than $10, right? Just like this, $31, right? So this is how trailing could work. Okay, and I hope that this video has helped you to broaden your mind, because I started Flickr. I actually started designing Flickr with the fundamental idea. Yes, it trades according to trend, but as you go on to the different, tier of Flickrs in the product range, okay, whether it is advanced, professional, or ultimate, what I also want to promote is the creativity in your settings, so much so that your settings is unique, and having form or having developed, designed a setting like this, no one else will understand it better than you do, and this will also result to full confidence in your trading experience as well, because what is it going to do, how is it going to recover, is it fast, is it slow, or whatnot. Okay, so yeah, I guess that's all I'd like to cover in this video. It's a very long one, and I hope, even if you're not using Flickr, okay, I hope this will have helped you to actually formulate your own settings. Don't use settings done by other people, because you do not know whether the test results that they post, whether they were doctored, they were edited, they were photoshopped. You do not know that. Okay, and you should, because it is about money, right? You should trust yourself much more. Okay, so be in control of your settings, be in control of your trading experience, and let no one tell you how to trade, what to trade, because ultimately at the end of the day, you are responsible. Another thing I'd like to highlight is that the EA is a tool. Okay, any expert advisor in the market is just merely a tool. How well it trades, well, of course, it is related to the features that are made available in it in the EA. Okay, but the bottom line is this: is that how well the EA trades is entirely up to the user. How much time do you spend on testing? How much time do you spend on calculating your risk? How unique your settings are? That will set, or that will make your trading experience better or worse. And definitely how you also add on, giving positive feedback or results about the EA as well, that it is really working as it should and it works very well. So do not blame the EA if it's not working well for you, because remember, point number one, you need to know how the EA works. And if you have bought the EA without knowing how it works, then I would bluntly say that you jump in blind and you didn't fully understand what the product is. I mean, come on. Before you buy a car, for example, you should know what it do, what are the special functions, how fast, how many liters, that kind of thing, whether it's an electric car or a gasoline car, that kind of thing. These are things that you know. And a tool, for that matter, is also just like a car. Car is meant to take you from one place to another, but how the car is being handled, maintained, how fast it moves from A to B, point A to B, it is entirely up to the user. Same like EA. The EA is just merely a tool. How well it performs is entirely up to you. So yeah, I guess that's all for this video, and I hope you have liked it, and do consider subscribing, or even try Flickr Basic and see how it will change your trading experience. Thank you for watching. See ya. Oh, there's another thing I forgot to highlight. Now, when it comes to settings, if it really works, it should be able to handle most market conditions. Okay, now remember the W that we were looking at just now? Now this whole length, okay, the $38 movement, many people, if not most of them, would be very afraid of a kind of movement like this, because most of them will have their accounts blown, or they will have received margin call and then they'll top up money and then hoping to see their accounts recover. Okay, but somehow I found a setting, a strategy that worked very well. Okay, W, this W, right? Why don't you look at this? Same W, 13 October, okay, at about, the whole movement is at 11, 12, that kind of period. Okay, 11 to 12. 13 October, 11 is somewhere here. Just look at that. This is Flickr signature, by the way. It is meant for Flickr signature. You can see it here. Okay, this is meant for FTMO based servers or accounts, and just look how it performed. It just, wow, went all the way down, all the way up, down and up again. So yeah, take the extra effort, the extra mile to find your own settings, so that even if the market falls like this, just look at how many positions it opened and closed, open and close in just that 1 to 2 hours time frame. It's amazing. Oh, by the way, if you're interested, you can also check out Flickr signature. And if you're planning on looking at funded accounts, I also have will be posting the links in the YouTube description box down below. Oh, that reminds me of something. Now, let's go back to this. Now, assuming you want to trade, and then you do not have, remember how much you started with? 10,000? You do not have 10,000 to trade with. I won't say play because it's money. You don't have 10,000 to trade with. Now, there's also another option whereby you can opt for dollar to dollar. You look at standard accounts. Okay, so that means you put in $1, you get $1 to trade with. Okay, but there's also another account type whereby it is called as cent account, CENT, dollar and cents. So what happens is that if you put in $1, you get 100 cents to play with. or to trade with, okay? Because it's so much small in value, many traders do not take said accounts as, you know, real accounts because yeah, it's being multiplied. But then it is still money. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're generating money, you know, what's wrong with that, right? So I've also posted links of, you know, some of the recommended send brokers that I'll use in the YouTube description box down below as well. So do visit them, and I'll recommend the first one because it gives you the option to open as small as 0.01 lot size, okay, whereas the other one, the second one, you start with 0.1 instead. So yeah, I think I covered a lot in this video, and I hope it has been beneficial to you, especially if you're new, or even if you're not new. I hope that you find it useful. So yeah, see ya.